Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. Excited another episode of the podcast. We pitch new TV shows every single week. New storylines, new characters, new plot lines, all kinds of fun stuff. Sometimes it's sci-fi, sometimes it's fantasy. Sometimes, Charlie,
alternate
it's
history.
Something we come up with during the episode off the top of our heads.
Off the dome.
And that's exactly what we're doing this week because it is it's our 10th episode of
every 10 episodes.
The sling of episodes. And we gotta have to come up with something off the top of our head for 280. Which is always exciting because it's normally we have a week, maybe even longer, to prepare and come up with an idea and really flesh it out. And we usually have a title as well to help balance it and come up with something.
Now, granted, do we usually wait until the very last minute before writing our shows? Yes, of course we do. But we have
100%.
the week's there. It's our fault we don't use it, but we are given the opportunity.
It's like a blanket, a comfort blanket. It's nice that it's there. If I'm sleeping on top of my bed for whatever, maybe because it's hot or something, rather than under the covers, I'm glad that the blanket's there if I wanted it, But now there's no blanket. I'm just sleeping on the floor basically here.
Yeah.
There's no protection from the elements. We're out in the cold right now, Charlie. We're freezing.
Yeah. Our teeth are chattering, our aching bones are grinding up against the hardwood floor. And we have to come up with a TV show about something. I don't know
exactly.
what.
So I'm looking at our list of episodes, 279, which just came out. That episode I did a noir show, detective show. Before that, you had Disco Volante, which was a sci-fi kid show.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we can't do sci-fi and we can't do detectives. So we have to do something else. Guys, it can be fantasy, Charlie. It can be
I was thinking medieval.
Inspiring drama. It could be a sitcom. Who knows? You
know what? I'm always fascinated by stories in fantasy settings that aren't the classic fantasy settings. Because generally speaking, fantasy books and movies and TV shows and video games and stuff will fall into ancient Greece, ancient Rome, or ancient Greece, ancient Norway, and ancient England. And I'm like, nah, you know what? What if we did ancient Babylonia? That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe we do a bunch of guys with scimitars.
Yeah, I got you. So you want to do something that's ancient, super ancient times, like Bronze Age situation, where people are living in I don't know what they call that brick. I think it's mud brick or something like that. But it doesn't actually look. It's not just like mud, It looks kind of looks nice, looks sleek, but it's got a brown color to it. But then not the most. Not like stone or stone homes, but like clay and stuff like that. And people have weapons and armor, but it's like bronze and it gets dented more easily and it's not as good. It looks cooler actually because it's more colorful and painted and stuff, but it's not as robust.
Not as effective.
For sure.
It's not like a plate. It's it's more segmented. It's more like using wood and leather rather than metals in your armor, right? And it's generally speaking just it's a I don't know, medieval fantasy with guys wearing sandals and using cool, crazy looking scimitars and stuff like that.
Okay, so I kind of like where this is going. So ancient fantasy, that's what we could do. So we're in Bronze Age. With these, more colorful, more vibrant, maybe. I feel like a lot of times they do these really ancient stuff. They have a very dull color palette. We should make it very vibrant and colorful. Are we doing actual? Do you want to do actual Mesopotamia area, or do you want to make this something completely made up?
I think make it made up, but take the same way that Westeros is made up, but very heavily based on England.
Yeah.
Something
So we can make it geographically somewhat similar. All right. So we have this big landmass similar to modern day Middle East, more colorful, and as it was back then, not as many deserts.
Yeah. More forests, more jungles. Our characters will be hanging out in bazaars and stuff. Because I am thinking
like
we should get the fantasy, like, stuff in, you know, like wizards and witches, curses, and, like, magical weapons
too, yeah.
and
It should
stuff.
be fully fantasy. I was wondering, what do you think about this? So, in real ancient Mesopotamia, everybody had, like, every city had its own god that they worshipped, right? And, like, their god was usually, like, they had, like, a statue in the middle of town or something like that, or some sort of sculpture or something that was, they actually believed that was their god.
Yeah.
So what if every city, every town has a god statue that literally actually, even in this world, is actually a god and has, like, incredible powers? But you can sort of neutralize the god if you take it out of the city. So it's like, it's a god, but, like, limitations and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe that could be, like, our inciting incident is our adventuring party of, like, 4 or 5 characters are tasked with transporting the god statue from this small village where it was constructed into the great city, whatever we call it, you know, New Canaan or something. And so the god statue can't move, but it can kind of, like, talk. And so you kind of get this sort of fun interplay where there's this, like, 30-foot tall god statue that can't do anything and is used to being all powerful. And then you get our 4 main characters who are just kind of, like, taking the piss because, you know, they're normal-ass people. And they're used to getting, like, stabbed and shot at with arrows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they're so they have to transport.
Okay, yeah, if I can add on to that, it had to be kind of funny if maybe they find, whoever the main person in the group is, finds the statue in, like, a cave or something. And the statue doesn't remember what city it's from. So the show is like them trying to find where this god is supposed to be. And the god can like talk and has like very limited powers, so it can like help out in some situations. But it doesn't have its full powers until it returns to its home city. So there's some city in this ancient world that's missing its god and it's like trying to find it, and they're trying to return it. But they have to like go to like every city and town to try to discover which one is missing their god, and maybe there's like a counterfeit god in that city, so maybe they don't even know that they have the wrong god.
The trickster god has usurped our god, and the god like that they're transporting should be like a minor god, you know? It shouldn't be like the god of lightning or whatever. It should be like the god of, you know, a light rainstorm, you know?
Oh, no. I think it should be like maybe the god of, because it's got to be something that's kind of fun in our situations, I think. Yeah. Like the god maybe can like give people vertigo or something. I'm trying to think of like some minor power that would be useful. Yeah. That in situations.
I don't know about you. I was imagining the god as kind of like talking like the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Like he's this like highly all-powerful like being who's like got total dementia and lost its mind. And so now he's just like this really chill guy who's just like, yeah, dude, don't worry about it, you know? It is what it is. You know, you win some, you lose some. But maybe it's revealed at the very end that he's actually the god of war. It's Kratos.
Okay, what if he's like, what if he thinks he's like the god of, what's like something that we can minimize down? Like if, like for example, say he's actually like the god of like, of all cultivation and farming and plants or something like that. Something that would be like massive for a city that to like help them grow. But he thinks he's just like the god of wine or something like that because his mind has been so dulled. So like he can like, you know, he can like produce alcohol and he can make people drunk instantly or something like that. And as he gets closer to the city, he regains more of his powers and realizes that he'll become more powerful and realize that he's like this way more important god.
Actually, I haven't been creating wine. I've been creating grapes. I'm just really bad at it. I'm just really terrible. That'd be funny. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's not nearly. He doesn't know he's nearly as powerful as he is. You know. And he's like, oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm probably just like the god of, you know, merriment and cheer, the god of love, or the god of springtime. Turns out I'm the god of all cultivation. I think our adventuring party, because I dig that idea, should be made up of 4 people from 4 distinctly different cultures, you know?
Yeah.
giving kind of the twist of this like fantasy universe, because I'm like, what if we had like a Chinese warrior, you know, and he's got like jade armor and stuff like that, but it's, you know, mythical jade armor and a cool sword,
I like
and
that.
stuff like
and
that.
he's just really fucking lost.
Oh yeah,
that's his thing. He came up, we're like a war party, like when he was like 18 years old, and they attacked one kingdom, and he got lost in the battle, and he couldn't remember which way to go, and instead of going west, he went, or instead of going east, he went west.
Yeah.
And he's just gotten farther and farther away from his people, and now he's like 30, and he's just like, I don't know which way's home. I live here now.
Yeah, I decided that I'm stuck here. And maybe he is like, keeps talking about this crazy theory he has that if he keeps going far enough in west, he'll eventually end up back east, and everyone keeps calling him an idiot. What, you think the world is round, you moron? Of course it's not round, it's flat.
You fucking moron.
Oh, you're just gonna fall over, you idiot, dumbass. God damn. But I was thinking, we have like one cool, like mythical Chinese warrior. We have one like sort of more ancient Middle Eastern warrior type with a scimitar and a bunch of cool like cloaks and so on and so forth.
He could be like this guy. That guy could be based off of like an Assyrian soldier. Assyria was like this really big, very militaristic, very angry society, super aggressive, and that could be what this guy, like the Middle East, this new warrior you just came up with is like super. He's like a brute, like big, strong, tough, like, you know, crack skulls kind of guy. Every situation he wants to treat it as the most aggressive possible, just beating the shit out of people.
And he has to be calmed, you know, by our other party members. Maybe our Jade warrior is kind of like more a meditative monk style character. You know, like he
they could have a
uses
cool
sword,
like
he
the
knows what he's
mountain
doing.
and the viper situation. I know we bring up that single scene in Game of Thrones like literally every episode, but that could be their relationship.
It's a great scene.
One's the big bulky brute who's kind of dumb, and the other's these really intelligent, smart, quick moving, fast, clever person.
But instead of being enemies, they're friends.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I did want to get a Native American warrior.
I don't know
think
if you know this, but that's kind of far away.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's a fantasy universe. There's like witches and shit. It doesn't exist, man.
It could be like a Bedouin tribe kind of person, like someone who's like a migratory from like a maybe they're from a migratory tribe that all their family was killed or something like that, and they're the only person left. Their whole tribe got wasted away by some great city, and
she rides.
They're like a desert warrior.
Giant caribou.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. I like caribous. They're big and spooky.
We definitely also need a character that's like someone that's like from the equivalent of whatever this world's Babylon is, like someone that's like the very this person be like the bard or like the social talker. Yeah. And they know about city life. They know this person is the one that knows all the different cities and towns and is the most well-versed in how to get around, and is also the one that is like the most social and able to handle different situations, but they're the least combat-oriented. Yeah. They're the magician bard. So we have our barbarian, who is the Middle Eastern warrior with the... I was thinking dual scimitars. We have our paladin, who's the jade warrior. We have our, like, ranger, scout, survivalist in the Bedouin tribeswoman. And then we have our like, magician cleric bard with the Babylonian. All right, we could do two different characters for that if you wanted. We could either do the bard as kind of like both, or we could have, like, the bard, and then we have, like, a drunkard priest who's like the sort of spell person who has who's like lost their god or something like that and sort of ends up being the new priest for this god that they found. Yeah. Or we could just make that all into the bard's character. Whatever you think. Maybe at some point they do pick up like a drunken friar. And he like devotes himself to the god, and he sort of becomes the homebody.
he's more of the cleric and the healer, whereas the bard is more of like combat magic. You know, doing all sorts of cool...
I don't know about you, I'm kind of picturing the bard similar to, if you've seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie, I'm picturing Chris Pine's character. But like a little bit more useful.
The best bard in the history of film, I would say.
Yeah.
No, I agree, where he's like, he doesn't really have any offensive capabilities, but he's smart and clever and uses his powers in an interesting and intelligent way, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Should we name these characters, or are they good just being big, broad,
the
sweeping?
naming's important, I think. So, God, what should the lost Chinese warrior? What's the Chinese word for lost? That would be perfect, actually.
Yeah, that would be good. Mandarin.
Oh boy, I don't know how to pronounce that. Milu, M-I-L-U. It's the Chinese word for being geographically lost. And maybe he was just saying that at first, and then people thought that was his name.
Mm-hmm. And that's so now he introduces himself. Hello, who are you? I am lost. Because that's
can be pronounced as Milu or Milu.
Milu. All right, Milu. I think Milu. Because maybe we have the bard be like, hey, Lou. He just calls him Lou. Because, you know, the bard's goofy. Goofy as heck.
All right, so we've got his name, the lost Chinese warrior, who's super cool, like Pedro Pascal's character. And,
it's like a badass warrior dude, you know.
But he's chill.
But he's chill. That's the thing about him. He's like cool.
Yeah.
Assyrian.
Now there is someone in Assyria that I'm thinking of. We could do either Ashurbanipal and call him Asher for short, or we could do Sargon. Those are two famous Assyrian kings.
You know what?
So Asher or Sargon?
Sargon, I think. Sargon. It's cool as hell.
Sargon is our big, burly brute. And then we have, obviously, the ranger from the Bedouin tribes. I don't know. What's a good...
I don't know the naming conventions of the Bedouin people, and I'm not willing to make a guess
right now. We could do Hessa. That's good fortune.
Hessa? All right.
Hessa, H-E-S-S-A.
Hessa. All right.
So Hessa is our ranger.
And
then we have
Babylonian bard.
Our bard. What's a Babylonian king's name? I know Gilgamesh. I think Babylonian. We call him Gilgi, like that. Gilgi.
I like that. Maybe they just call him Babble.
Or Gil.
Because all he does is talk. You know. And he's Babylonian. All he does is babble.
I think Babble's actually good. Yeah, we call him Babble.
Yeah.
Babble.
That'd be fun.
Is the bard? What should the god's name be? Do you think something? I guess would it have to be a joke name? Do you think? Because they found him in a cave. Like they don't know his actual name.
Yeah, they would have to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna name you something. You know, maybe that's the thing. By the end of the first day together, Babble is like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of just referring to you as whatever. I'm gonna give you a name. I shall name you Rufus.
What if they just gave him a really basic name?
Yeah.
Like Bruce.
Todd the God.
Yeah. Todd.
Yeah.
They'll call him Todd.
I think Todd is good. I think that's funny enough.
Todd the God.
Without being obnoxious. And so we've got our main cast. Oh, what should we call the friar?
What's a good
Loxley.
Name? Loxley. Like that. Loxley is the friar. Okay, so we got Milu, the lost Chinese warrior. We got Sargon, the big burly brute Assyrian. Hessa, the ranger from the tribe. Babble, the bard. Todd, the god, and Loxley, the friar priest man. Is a drunkard probably, and I think it'd be funny if he got, if he was like one of the lower priests in this town that they get to, and he gets maybe at the start of the episode is him getting like kicked out of the town, like he's been exiled and forced out of like the god's religion because he's, I don't know, just a total screw up and fuck up and always drinking.
He's always drinking.
It's like the god's like the god of like no, I don't know. What's of being like the god of like sobriety, and he's supposed to be a priest for this god, and he's just absolutely horrible at it.
I was gonna say it's the god of chastity, and he gets kicked out by the mayor, who's got this huge crowd of people following him, and you see him as he's walking out, like as he's leaving the town, having been thrown out. You see the mayor's wife, who's like 30 years younger than him, just waving a handkerchief at him from the from the top floor. And he's like, "Oh man, I really shouldn't have taken the god of chastity. That's honestly, that's my fault. I should have known better.
That's my bad."
And he's got.
It's like I got put into it as a kid. I didn't know how things were gonna develop. I didn't realize.
I didn't even know what the word chastity meant, dude. That was so stupid. Yeah, and then maybe I think a good way that we could introduce him to the rest of the crew is that we see that little scene at the beginning of the episode, and then we have our crew walking with the god, and they get into a little bit of a minor adventure, and they meet the friar on the side of the road, and they start talking to him, and he ends up joking like, "Ha, if that's a god, well then fill my pouch with wine." And he turns it upside down to look at it. They are like, "Okay," and they tell the god to do it, Todd the god to do it, and he fills the pouch with wine, and then that's when Loxley just like gets on his like knees and starts bowing and praying and like, "Oh, you are the greatest god, you are the truest god, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And that's when he's like, "Now I'm in it," And then we finish the episode with our 4 warriors having to fight off an adventuring party or a raiding party coming from the town, sent by the mayor looking for his philandering priest,
Yeah.
To pay him back all of the things he did to his wife, Yeah,
and then the way it can get resolved is that, they get surrounded by this huge, army, and because we've gotten the god, Todd the god, has gotten new powers because he's slightly closer to his city, and he is able to make the entire army drunk instantly. So they're able to sneak out of the
encampment
or something,
the barricade or the ambush. They're able to just slowly but surely slip their way out because everybody's drunk, and they're like, maybe you get some warriors played by us, obviously. "Hey, are we supposed to be getting you? Wait, hold on.
I thought..."
Right? And then, they all go, no, actually, you're not getting us, you're getting him. And they just point to a random warrior. "Am I? Yeah, you have to go get that guy." "Okay." And then he tackles him, and it starts like a massive brawl. This entire army is fighting itself, and they have no idea why they're all fighting each other. But they're all just so drunk, it doesn't matter.
I think that's perfect. That could be really good. We should talk about how it's going to start, I think. Yeah. So I think we have to open up with Babble because he's the social, and he's kind of got to be the main principal character that we first see.
He's played by Timothy Chalamet, the most Babylonian man you could find.
Exactly, yeah. Everybody's played by freaking Timothy Chalamet in VRP. I'm thinking maybe we start off and we're in Babylon. He's living the life,
Oh, I actually had an idea that maybe we start off and it's really cold and wintry, and we're in this frozen tavern, right, in what would be Germany, of this fantasy realm, and everyone's kind of huddled around the fire, and it's a few dozen people, and there's merriment and happiness going on and around, and a character walks out of the cold, billowing snow and comes in, walks up to the bar, puts a piece, a gold piece on the bar, asks for a mug of ale, right? They take it, slam the entire thing, put it back down, right? And ask for another one. And while they're pouring the second one, right, somebody sidles up next to him. "So what brings you all the way out here, stranger?" And they lift down the hood, and it is Babble. And Babble says, "Well, If you really must know, I'll need another drink to loosen my lips, and then all of you gather around the fire, and let me tell you a most wondrous story. And that's how it starts, you know, sort of Frankenstein-esque. Like, you know how the book Frankenstein starts with Victor Frankenstein in the Arctic Circle telling his story to a ship captain? Something like that, where it's like he's really cold and freezing and totally out of his element, and he gets this entire tavern gathered around him in the around the fire, right? And he sits close to the fire, and he's got a big foamy cup of ale, and he starts telling his story. And every few episodes we flash back to the tavern, and maybe you get like a little kid is there and he's asking a question, or you know, somebody's a little suspicious of what he's saying. It's like, that didn't happen, or I don't believe you, or whatever. And Babble is like, hey, you know, do you want to hear the story or not? I could just stop telling the story if you want. And everyone's like, no, sorry, you just keep talking. And then we open up with in where you were starting. Babble's in Babylonia, and he's living the life, and he's chatting up with all the girls, and he's got a lute he's playing in a bar, and he's getting, you know, all the ladies are after him, you know, and he's loving it, you know, he's loving all the attention. And then
I like that. Yeah, that's good. And it could be, I think we need to have him in the later scene of it, you know, like in the snowy area in the bar. I think he should have an eye patch, and he should have a big old beard. And we'll reveal at the end that they'll be like, so like, how did you lose your eye? And he's just like, oh, this whole thing? Oh, I just put it on for show. He just takes it off.
It makes the story so much better.
It's really cold outside, and my eye's kind of sensitive, so I just put this little.
That eye gets really cold, so yeah.
I got sensitive skin, but only on that eyelid.
Yeah, and then he's in the bar. He's Babylonian. He's like singing a great song. Right, and we'll have, you know, we'll do a Knight's Tale situation where he'll cover a modern song, but using only, like, old, ancient musical styles, right? What song should he cover? Something by Ed Sheeran. He's singing an Ed Sheeran song, and all these ladies are swooning over him. And then, I mean, what should happen next? And then I think the Assyrian...
Then Ed Sheeran should come in. He's like another bard. He should get really pissed off, and he's got a big friend who's gonna try to like beat the shit out of our bard. He's got to like run away because he's been plagiarizing this other bard who's Ed Sheeran, and he gets like, he's like running, trying to avoid these like big burly dudes that are gonna beat the shit out of him, and he ends up like running along the walls of the city, and he gets like knocked off the wall and falls into like a big thing of straw, like, you know, Assassin's Creed style. Yeah. And it like knocks him out, and he'll wake up, and he's like super far away from the city. There's like some, it's like some farmer's cart that he landed in, and the farmer's like, get the fuck out of my cart, and like tosses him out. And he's like, but how, I need a ride back to the city. Like I'm all the way out here. And he's like, that's not my fucking problem. You're the one that hopped on my cart. He's like, but like, wait. And the farmer just like leaves him out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Like, okay.
And he's like, oh, can this get any worse? And then it starts raining. Obviously, classic comedy.
Yeah. And then he has maybe he runs into a cave, and there's a beast in the cave, and he's like hiding from it, and he finds the god, and the god, I don't know, saves him from the animal by making it drunk or something.
I was thinking he walks into this cave, and he's really not paying attention. He's just like gets in the cave and starts shivering, and, you know, rubbing his arms and stuff and trying to stay warm. And he's sitting there for a few minutes. He's just cold and sad. And then from like off camera, you hear a voice just say, you want to sit by the fire? And he looks up, and you have our Chinese warrior and the Assyrian, and they're both sitting there like together by a fire. And he's like, whoa, when'd you guys get there? What? We've been here the whole time. You've been sitting there the whole time? How the hell did I miss that? Yeah, I'll go by the fire. And so he goes up to the fire, and then they start talking. They talk about like, yeah, we've been adventuring buddies. Because I do think they have them having a mountain and viper sort of relationship. One's big and burly, the other one's small and fast, right? And they're kind of adventuring partners who've been like traveling together for a while. I think that's a fun dynamic, you know? A sort of Rocket Raccoon and Groot situation, you know?
Yeah, I like that as well. And I think it'd be funnier if, like, the way he gets into this cave, he, like, crawled in through a crawl space and, like, fell down a big, like, fell down into the cavern, and he gets to these guys, and they're, like, they just, like, they're chatting by the fire and waiting, and he's like, okay, so, like, how do we get out of here? And they're like, oh, yeah, we got no idea. We've been stuck in here for, like, 2 days now. Like, we have no idea how to get out of this cave. We also fell in.
And as they say, oh, we have no idea how the hell to get out of here. That's when the Bedouin tribeswoman falls through the ceiling again, and she lands, and she's like, oh, what the hell? Oh, I was just getting out of the rain. And she looks around, and she's kind of like, the hell are you guys doing here? What? And then they're like, well, I mean, the only thing we can do is go deeper, you know? And so they descend further and further into the cave until they get to, like, a massive treasure room, you know?
Yeah, I think it should be like Indiana Jones style, like booby traps and stuff, and you know, they can all display their different skills. Like the tribeswoman, she can, I forgot what her name is, Hessa, I think. Yeah, Hessa. She can, like, display her, you know, her skills by just for being the first one that discovers that they're traps, and like, she'll stop Sargon from running forward, and he'll be like, oh, it's fine, it's just a long hallway, and then she'll, like, lightly touch on one of the tiles, and a bunch of darts will, like, fly past. She's like, I think you're gonna want me to go first. He's like, okay, never mind. You can go first.
And she's got, what should her signature weapon be? Because Jade Warrior guy, he's got, like, I would imagine, like a cool Chinese sword and a cool Chinese spear. The Assyrian dude... I'm thinking
she has to have a bow.
Yeah,
somebody's gotta have a bow.
I was gonna say bow and arrow. I didn't know if the Bedouins were bow and arrow people, but either way, it's fine.
Everybody's a bow and arrow people. They probably got bows and arrows.
Yeah, so give her a bow and arrow, 2 like heavy scimitars, and then the bard can have, like, daggers and maybe, like, a crossbow. Maybe.
You're throwing scimitars out here. I'm not sure scimitars are historically accurate for this time period. But
neither is a giant god statue that can actually talk. I agree, though. I think a crazy cool, like, Indiana Jones style, there's tons of traps, and then they get into this massive treasure room. And in the center of the room is the god statue, and they hear his booming voice in their heads, right? And they're like, what the? And then the god's like, brr. And then he's like, hey, sorry about that, man. Could you guys, like, not touch anything? And he warns them, like, don't touch anything. But as he says it, right, that's when the Assyrian dude, like, grabs a big handful of gold and stuffs it into his pocket.
Yeah.
And the god's like, oh, you really shouldn't have done that, dude. And then the entire, like, thing starts to collapse and, like, fill with water. And so they have to eventually, like, use the god statue as, like a battering ram, knock down a wall, like in Raiders, and, like, ride him out the bottom of the cave on this, like, massive whirlpool. And then they all get outside, you know, and it's the 4 of them and Todd the god. And they're like, well, that was crazy, man. Like, that was nuts. What do we do now? And Todd's like, hey, I know we just met, but could you guys, like, take me back to my city so that I can have my powers fully restored? I'll make it worth your while, you know? Tons of food and drink, you know? Lusty women and all sorts of fun stuff. And so they all kind of, like, look at each other, and they're like, oh, well, I don't have anything better to do. And so they, you know, end the episode by building, like, a wagon around the god statue.
I think it should be Babble's idea to bring him back. I think the god should be, like, so kind of out of it that he doesn't even, like, realize that he's supposed to be in a city.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Babble's like, and Babble kind of sees this as an opportunity. It's like, oh, wait, no, guys, we bring him back. He'll be, like, in our, you know, we'll have a favor from him, and, like, we could live as, like, kings in this new city if we bring the god back. Like, he sees this as, like, a opportunity to, like, improve their luck. And the god's just kind of, like, so out of it and chill, like, just doesn't really even care at this moment. But, like, he's suggesting, he's like, you know, that could be,
that sounds fun.
That could be nice, you know.
Whatever you want, buddy. You seem cool. You seem like a nice guy. Yeah, and so, yeah, I think that does work better. If it's Babble's idea to bring Todd and reunite him with his city. And so, yeah, but I think that the episode ends with them building, like, a wagon around the god statue, and they begin dragging it onto the road, and they're all supposed to be like, 2 of them are up front pulling it, so we'll have the Assyrian and the Chinese guy pulling it up front, and them yelling at the Babylonian and the Bedouin tribeswoman, like, make sure you guys are pushing it, and they'll yell like, yeah, we're pushing it, don't worry, and we cut back, and they're sitting on the statue.
They're just sitting on it, yeah.
Like, eating a sandwich, and that's how the episode ends.
And we'll find out, like, 6 episodes in, or maybe, like, 3 episodes in, that the god actually has enough power to power the wheels himself. And they'll be like, why didn't you tell us? And he's like, I don't know, kind of like being pushed around.
You guys seem like you were having a good time. Looked like it was fun. I mean, I can't walk anywhere. Yeah. And where should the season go?
Do you think the season is this a 1-season show? Should it end with them reaching the city? Or do you think that, it's like end of the 2nd season they reach the city?
I think the season 1 should end with them reaching the city. And having and there'll have been a god that replaced Todd, and so the final, it'll be a final epic climactic showdown between Todd the god and this new god, and the new god will have some sort of a crazy
trickster
wizard
god and his priest, or wizard, It, this evil wizard, and that could be the main antagonist. She's constantly sending people to try to kill them throughout the show to stop them from coming back to the city, and trying to take control.
Yeah, and then
I like that.
We'll all cut to the
and they could be the ultimate bogeyman too. This city that this god is at is the ultimate evil city in this world, and people are all like, "Oh my god, that place is terrible," and they'll slowly realize, "Oh shit." The god we have is the one that's supposed to be is the god of this evil city. So they'll think their god's an evil god, but they'll eventually realize that no, this evil city used to be good.
Yeah.
And it's because there's this evil god that's taken over and replaced our god.
Yeah, I like it.
Todd.
And then it'll end with the cut back to the German tavern, the eye patch reveal, and then they'll be like, so, and then you came up here? Yeah. What happened to the rest of your friends? And he's like, the rest of my... Oh, shit. And he runs outside and he sees that, the 3 other members of his party were waiting to be let in. And so they've just been standing outside, freezing their asses off for the entire time he's been telling this, the hours he's been telling the story, Mm-hmm. And then,
and
leaves the door open.
If they have, a little part of the god, the god's statue with them, and they can the god can talk through that, so it's they still have the god with them, Todd's still with them. Adventure.
They have a pinky finger.
Yeah,
and that actually works really well because it means Loxley can become the new high priest of Todd in the new city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fun.
And the last thing is
what should the title be? Yeah, the title. So, fantasy journey. We've got a moving god statue.
A conversation with God. Too long. Too wordy. Too much like a Bible flicks, pure flicks film. Talkative godliness. I don't know. The only thing that coming to mind... What's city in Latin? Can you Google that?
It's not going to be any good. I'm looking up, so, the oldest book I could think of, or that'd be relevant, is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is, a tale about, the ancient, ancient Mesopotamia. That's it's, the oldest story that we have recorded.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some version of that, maybe, or some sort of
the Epic of Todd
thing we could do. The Epic of Todd. I think that could be cool.
Yeah.
You want to do Epic of Todd?
Yeah, I think that's fun.
Epic of Todd.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, has been my co-host, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jake Goth. If you like what you heard here, you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat. Remember, we'll be here next week with a brand new televisual series to imagine and enjoy, titled Phoenix Excremente. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Be an interesting one.
I'm excited. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.